Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Global Job Change. Starting with the Hidden Job, Lord of the Death, Chapter 41 Golden Phoenix. Lu Yan didn't expect to immediately come into contact with the mixed race. The other party gave off a powerful charm, but Lu Yan didn't feel any discomfort. His current intelligence was more than 100. The charm of the mixed blood succubus in front of him was naturally useless against him. Li Meier looked into Lu Yan's clear eyes and was directly stunned. Her charm was useless against this guy. Before Li Meier could think carefully, Li Moqing gritted his teeth and said, "Li Meier, what do you want?" Li Meier was shocked. Only then did she see Li Moqing beside Lu Yan and immediately tremble. "Aunt Cheng, why are you here?" I just wanted to bring this student around the school." Li Meier looked at Li Moqing and smiled apologetically. Li Moqing smiled insincerely and said, "Bring him around the school. Then why did you use your charm? I believe you probably wanted to scam him, right?" Seeing that she had been exposed, Li Meier immediately panicked and begged, "Aunt Cheng, I know my mistake. Please don't tell my mother about this." Li Moqing said resentfully, "You've already been admitted to the Golden Corner Academy and have been rewarded by the school. Why are you still using this method to get money? Did your mother raise you easily? Is this how you repay her?" Li Meier's eyes were slightly red. "Aunt Cheng, I just want to earn more money. You know, my mother." Li Moqing was silent when he heard this. Then, he said, "All right, I won't tell your mother about this, but don't do this kind of thing again. Just look for me if you don't have the money." Li Meier nodded with red eyes and turned to leave. Li Moqing turned around and looked at Lu Yan apologetically. "I'm sorry, this is my brother's daughter. Her father died early and she and her mother relied on each other for survival. I didn't expect her to do this." Lu Yan waved his hand to indicate that he was fine. Then, he asked, "The Golden Corner Academy should have protective requirements for new students, right? Is this allowed?" Li Moqing hurriedly said, "The Golden Corner Academy has a clear rule that seniors are not allowed to do anything harmful to new students. They will only be allowed to do so when the other party is in their second year. However, the Golden Corner Academy doesn't have any clear rules about the relationship between new students. Meier was also specially recruited. Therefore, in theory, even if you were charmed by her just now and she brought you around and asked you for money, the school won't interfere. After all, from the moment you enter the school, you have to compete with each other. Other than some completely prohibited actions like assassination and poisoning, the Golden Corner Academy will not interfere with anything between the new students. Of course, it's another matter for you to take the initiative to report and let the academy get involved." Lu Yan nodded. It was understandable for the Golden Corner Academy to do this. After all, entering a university meant that they had to step out of the wilderness and face various challenges. However, to Lu Yan's surprise, Li Meier was actually specially recruited. It had to be known that the combat strength of succubi was not very powerful among the foreign races. For Li Meier to be specially recruited, she either had a mutated succubus bloodline or was very powerful. "Let's go. I'll show you around the Golden Corner Academy first." Li Moqing whistled, and a cry sounded in the sky. Then, a golden phoenix swooped down from the sky and quickly arrived beside Li Moqing. Lu Yan's body froze. He felt the heavy aura coming from the phoenix in front of him and raised his eyebrows slightly. Was this Li Moqing's mount or pet? The phoenix seemed to be a legendary creature, right? He couldn't believe that there was actually someone who could take it as a mount or pet. "What are you waiting for? Come up quickly." Li Moqing jumped up and said to Lu Yan below. Lu Yan nodded and hurriedly went up. The appearance of the golden phoenix still caused a commotion in the surroundings. However, when they saw Li Moqing, some people continued to do their own things. It seemed that they were no longer surprised. The golden phoenix took off and directly arrived in the sky above the Golden Corner Academy. It could allow Lu Yan to take in the entire Golden Corner Academy. "Teacher Li, may I ask what level you are now?" Lu Yan looked at Li Moqing and asked. To be able to subdue a legendary creature, Li Moqing's level was definitely not low. Li Moqing smiled and said, "I'm at level 62 now." Level 62. Lu Yan's body trembled. Didn't that mean that she had already undergone 3 profession changes? Lu Yan did not expect the Li Moqing in front of him to be a big shot who had undergone profession changes. Li Moqing continued, "Lu Yan, you have to know that level is not everything. It's only a measurement unit. By hunting demon beasts and obtaining strength from them, one can increase their level. However, there are also people who have never hunted demon beasts and are very powerful by relying on their own strength. Their levels might be very low, but their strength is definitely not weak. Therefore, don't develop the habit of judging people based on their levels. Of course, there are very few people like that. Most people still rely on leveling up to obtain strength. As she spoke, the golden phoenix quickly flew forward. Li Moqing and Lu Yan stood beside the golden phoenix as Li Moqing pointed at the places below and explained to Lu Yan their names and uses. 2. That's the school cafeteria. There are many school cafeterias, but only the one in the middle is used to provide food for demon beasts. Eating it can slowly increase one's physique. That's the teaching building of the Warrior Academy. That's the teaching building of the Mage Academy. That's the laboratory. That's the logistics area. The school treasure vault of the Golden Corner Academy is also there. You can use the credits of the Golden Corner Academy to exchange for items. As Li Moqing guided Lu Yan, she briefly introduced the composition of the Golden Corner Academy. The Golden Corner Academy was divided into the Warrior Academy, the Mage Academy, the Archer Academy, the Fourth Academy, and the Auxiliary Academy. Among them, the Warrior Academy taught physical close combat professions. The Mage Academy taught long-range magic attacks. The Archer Academy taught long-range physical attacks. The Fourth Academy was relatively special. It included some special combat professions like summoners, talisman masters, and array masters. The Auxiliary Academy was purely for people with auxiliary professions that had no combat strength. Within the various academies, there were also many departments. For example, the Berserker Department of the Warrior Academy, the Swordsman Department, the Elemental Mage Department of the Mage Academy, the Spatial Mage Department, the Necromancer Department, and so on. After spending half an hour, Li Moqing brought Lu Yan around the entire Golden Corner Academy. After telling him some things to take note of, Li Moqing brought Lu Yan to the place where the new students reported. I've already explained everything that needs to be explained. You can figure out the rest yourself. By the way, although private battles are not prohibited among the new students, the academy will still take care of it. If you encounter any trouble, you can inform the academy. With that said, Li Moqing directly rode the Golden Phoenix and left. She was very busy. Ordinary students needed to rely on themselves to understand the things she had told Lu Yan just now. Only the provincial champion she recruited could enjoy such special treatment. Seeing Li Moqing leave, Lu Yan headed towards the new student reporting in front. At this moment, a figure in front of him headed towards Lu Yan. It was Li Mayer. Global Job Change. Starting with the Hidden Job, Lord of the Death, Chapter 42 High. Hey, I'm really sorry about what happened earlier. I was also possessed for a moment and did that to you. Li Mayer looked at Lu Yan and said apologetically. Because she was Li Moqing's relative, Li Mayer was very familiar with the Golden Corner Academy. She wanted to help the new students tour the school and earn some money. In order to increase the success rate, Li Mayer used her charm. She did not expect to encounter Lu Yan and Li Moqing as soon as she started. Lu Yan waved his hand and said, "It's fine. Just pay attention in the future." After all, she was Li Moqing's niece and he still had to give her face. Li Mayer heaved a sigh of relief and looked at Lu Yan. "My name is Li Mayer. It's nice to meet you. I'm very familiar with the Golden Corner Academy. If you need anything, you can ask me anytime." Lu Yan nodded. "My name is Lu Yan. I'll look for you if I need you in the future." After some small talk, Lu Yan prepared to report. Unexpectedly, Li Mayer's expression changed several times when she heard Lu Yan's name. She was stunned for a moment before revealing a happy expression. Then, she thought of something and her smile dimmed. Lu Yan had already passed Li Mayer and did not notice the change in her expression. After entering the place where the new students reported, Lu Yan saw a few senior sisters chatting. Seeing Lu Yan enter, the few of them stopped talking and their gazes landed on Lu Yan. "Student, you're here to report, right? Just give us the admission notice." One of the seniors looked at Lu Yan with a smile. Lu Yan nodded and handed over the admission notice. "Lu Yan, why does this name sound so familiar? The provincial champion. The provincial champion of our Suhong province. I knew it. He looked somewhat familiar just now. His figure is much better than in the university entrance examination video." He looks even more handsome. When the female seniors saw Lu Yan's admission notice, they chattered excitedly and stole a few glances at Lu Yan from time to time. After the video and fingerprints verified Lu Yan's information, Lu Yan's student card was quickly produced. Name: Lu Yan. Profession: necromancer, new student number 3. Looking at the information displayed on the computer, the female seniors were stunned. New student number 3. How could this be? That's right, I thought it would be at least 2. Is it because of the necromancer? It feels a little unfair. In any case, the order will be rearranged later. Moreover, number 3 is already very good. Hearing the discussion of the senior sisters, Lu Yan frowned and said, Senior sisters, what does new student number 3 mean? Listening to their discussion, this number should have a special meaning. A senior looked at Lu Yan and said, oh, it's like this. The student number of the Golden Corner Academy represents one's ranking in this batch. The school's resources are tilted to a large extent according to the student number. We thought you would be number 1. We didn't expect it to be number 3. Lu Yan nodded. I see. Lu Yan did not care much about the fact that he was number 3, nor was he unhappy. After all, he was not the only provincial champion recruited by the Golden Corner Academy. The new students' numbers were initially ranked by the school leaders according to their performance in the university entrance examination. Li Moqing had already told him that after the ordinary students arrived, there would be a new student test. At that time, this number should be rearranged. After registering the student card, a senior sister brought Lu Yan to the dormitory. Along the way, this senior told Lu Yan some basic information. Junior Lu Yan, the dormitories for the top 10 students of our Golden Corner Academy are different from ordinary dormitories. I'll explain to you when we arrive. In addition, credits are more important than money in the Golden Corner Academy. After all, the items in the school's treasure vault can only be exchanged with credits. Oh right, school credits can be exchanged for energy coins, but energy coins can't be exchanged for credits. However, I don't recommend Junior Lu Yan to use his points to exchange for energy coins. That's not worth it. €1. As she spoke, this senior brought Lu Yan to a huge artificial lake. The artificial lake was surrounded by green plants and looked very beautiful. In the middle of the lake was a small mountain. The small mountain was not very high. One could vaguely see the top of the mountain. On the small mountain, Lu Yan saw a few houses. The senior pointed at the small mountain path in front of her and said, Junior Lu Yan, that's the residence of the top 10 students of the Golden Corner Academy. There are a total of 4 such small mountains in the school. They correspond to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th level of the university. The top 10 students of each level can stay here. Do you see the white fog on that small mountain? That's a spirit gathering formation created by the school's high-level array masters. Living inside can effectively increase one's physique and comprehension. I heard that many students comprehended new skills because of it. The 10 houses are located in an orderly manner. The effect of the spirit gathering formation from bottom to top is also different. The effect of the spirit gathering formation on the house at the top of the mountain is the best. It's more than double the effect of the one at the bottom. According to the order, your dormitory is the 3rd house on the mountain peak. The senior looked at Lu Yan and said with envy, only the top 10 students and special teachers of the various schools could use a spirit gathering formation of this level. Not only did it represent honor, but it also had practical benefits. A strange expression also flashed in Lu Yan's eyes. He did not expect the top 10 students of the various school levels to receive such special treatment. Presumably, this was also a way for the Golden Corner Academy to encourage students to compete. Only intense competition could produce stronger students. Junior Lu Yan, the area ahead is not an area I can enter. You can go yourself. You can enter with your student card. By the way, at 10 in the morning tomorrow, you specially recruited students who came first have to gather at the northwest field. Don't forget, don't be late. After instructing Lu Yan, this senior directly turned around and left. Seeing this, Lu Yan directly walked towards the artificial lake in front of him. The artificial lake and the small mountain in the middle were connected by 4 roads. There were 4 long wooden corridors. In the middle of the long corridor was a small pavilion that could rest and admire the scenery. He entered the small mountain along the wooden corridor and saw a door at the end. He placed the student card on the verification card and Lu Yan's information was quickly revealed. Then, the door in front of him opened directly. The moment Lu Yan stepped onto the small mountain, he felt a refreshing aura lingering beside him. It should be the effect of the spirit gathering formation. The spirit gathering formation not only included several houses, but the surrounding area as well. The area around where each house was located had the effect of the spirit gathering formation. Lu Yan walked up and arrived in front of the house with the number 3. The aura here was even richer, making Lu Yan feel refreshed. He felt as if his thoughts had become several times faster. At this moment, a voice sounded in Lu Yan's mind. Dinga Euro detected that the host is in a high-grade spirit gathering formation and has comprehended the skill, Undead Twin. Host, please investigate. Global job change. Starting with the hidden job, Lord of the Death, Chapter 43 Idiot. He had actually comprehended a skill automatically. It seemed that the effect of this spirit gathering formation was still very good. Of course, Lu Yan also knew that the reason why he could comprehend it as soon as he entered was because of the system. However, it could also be seen that living in the spirit gathering formation was very beneficial. Thinking of this, Lu Yan checked the new skill he had obtained. Undead Twin. Grade. Master. Level. 0. Effect. Consumes mental strength. It can replicate the undead creatures controlled by the host. The more undead creatures host chooses to replicate, the more mental strength it will consume. At most, it can replicate double the number. The attributes of the replicated undead creatures are 50% of the original upgradable. The duration is affected by intelligence. The cooldown time is 5 hours upgradable. Looking at the introduction of the Undead Twin, Lu Yan's eyes lit up. This was a very awesome skill that could double the number of undead creatures he controlled. Although its attributes were only half, it could be increased by leveling up. Moreover, even half of the attributes of a level 0 was still a very powerful skill. This could be considered a late-stage skill. The further one progressed, the better the effect. Raising his head, Lu Yan looked at the house in front of him and sized it up carefully. This house would be his dormitory in the future. Of course, after all the new students arrived and were rearranged, he would not live here anymore. Since House 1 on the top of the mountain was the best, Lu Yan naturally had to stay there. The entire house was not very big, but it was not small either. It occupied about 200 square meters. However, from the outside, it still looked very exquisite. The style of the house resembled those ancient buildings. The various facilities inside were relatively complete. Moreover, the training room was fully equipped. All kinds of electronic equipment also made the use of the room very convenient. After a simple training in the training room and familiarizing himself with the equipment here, Lu Yan took a shower and walked out of the room. Lu Yan prepared to ask if there was any news of mid-grade sword pills. If there was none in the school's treasure vault, he would ask around the school or Tianan City. Arriving at the teleportation formation of the area, Lu Yan took out his bank card and swiped it. Then, he directly teleported from the dormitory area to the entrance of the school. The Golden Corner Academy was too big. If he did not use the teleportation formation, it was unknown how long he would have to walk. Looking at it, one teleportation required 100 energy coins, equivalent to 1,000 yuan. It was not cheap. It seemed like he had to find a means of transportation in the future, such as a mount or an aircraft. Cars were somewhat limited. They could only be driven in schools and the city. They were basically useless in the real world. However, Lu Yan learned that as long as one was flying in the air, they had to report to the school and obtain permission. Otherwise, they might be shot down. If only he had the skill of the bone dragon, he could directly summon a bone dragon as a tool. Outside the school, there were many shops facing the Golden Corner Academy. The business here was still not bad. After all, although the Golden Corner Academy had the school's treasure vault, not everyone had enough points to exchange for the items. Although the prices outside the school were more expensive, some students could still take out energy coins. Lu Yan entered a few shops in a row, but there was no news of the sword pill. All of them said that it had been bought out. Previously, the Halen exchange in Linan City also told me that the sword pills have all been bought by a black card user like them. Even the ones around the school have been bought. Could it have been bought by the same person? Lu Yan frowned and did not believe it. He ran to the various shops in the city center to ask around. However, the answers he received were all the same. In the end, Lu Yan asked for some information at an exchange. Sword pill. I think all the sword pills in the country are probably unavailable now. I heard that a very powerful sword Dao Big Shot was severely injured and needed a large number of sword pills. He bought all the sword pills in the country. Because of this, the price of the sword pill has already increased crazily. Many people have gone to the wilderness to kidnap sword-wielding mutants to force them to condense the sword pill or to try their luck at the places where swordsmen die. By the way, many black merchants have begun to attack swordsmen. They kidnapped the entire family of swordsmen and threatened the swordsman to give himself up to be condensed into a sword pill so that they could sell them. If you want the sword pill, you can either go to the black market and buy it at a higher price than that person. However, the channel has already been monopolized by that person. I think you'll probably have to wait for a while. Otherwise, you can go and obtain the sword pill yourself. I have a map marking the death of a high-level swordsman in the wilderness. Do you want to try your luck? In the end, Lu Yan did not buy the so-called high-level swordsman map. Lu Yan seemed to have seen this item being sold in the school's treasure vault previously. Moreover, that map updated itself in real time and was much more reliable than this shop. Lu Yan prepared to go to the black market to try his luck in a few days. If not, he might have to go to the wilderness to try his luck. After returning to the Golden Corner Academy, Lu Yan arrived at the demon meat canteen of the academy. This place provided food made of demon meat that was beneficial to one's physique. After arriving at the canteen, Lu Yan first strolled around and discovered that there was quite a variety of food available. Ordinary demon meat food could be paid for with energy coins. However, some demon meat food that was cooked by auxiliary professional chefs could only be exchanged with credits. These demon meat foods also had additional effects. For example, one's physique could directly increase by 2 points after eating them, and one's intelligence could increase by 10 points in a short period of time after eating them. Lu Yan only came to try it and ordered a golden rhinoceros meat rice. The rhinoceros meat was made from the meat of the demon beast, the flower-horned rhino. The chefs in the canteen were all chefs hired by the Golden Corner Academy at a high price. Putting everything else aside, the taste was definitely top-notch. After eating, a hot current circulated in his body, as if his physical strength had increased a little. He did not know if it was a psychological effect. After eating and drinking his fill, Lu Yan returned to the dormitory. At this moment, it was already 7. Lu Yan did some exercise and took a simple shower before preparing to call Luo Luli. At this moment, 2 voices suddenly sounded from outside the door. Cousin, this isn't good, right? I'm fine staying on the 10th. There's no need to do this, right? Why are you being so polite? Since my aunt has handed you to me, I naturally have to give you the best conditions. Don't worry, the Golden Corner Academy allows this kind of thing. It will be fine. Moreover, I've already investigated clearly. This Lu Yan doesn't have any background. As long as it's within the school's rules, I can step on him as I please. No, cousin, I mean. Before the person could finish his sentence, a violent knock sounded. Lu Yan frowned and opened the door. There were 2 boys standing at the door. They looked somewhat similar, but one of them looked more arrogant and the other looked somewhat timid. Lu Yan, right, let me introduce myself. I'm Bai Yuz from the Bai family of the North River. I'm also the owner of House 2 on this small mountain. I came over to discuss with you. Can you change houses with my cousin who lives in House 10? The slightly arrogant boy in front looked at Lu Yan and said bluntly. Lu Yan looked at the 2 of them in front of him and spat out a single word indifferently. Idiot. Global job change. Starting with the hidden job, Lord of the Death, Chapter 44 Notary Duel. When Bai Yuz heard Lu Yan's words, he was directly furious. Just as he was about to attack, he remembered that this was the Golden Corner Academy and suppressed his anger. Lu Yan, can you be more polite? I didn't insult you. Why are you insulting me? Lu Yan looked at the 2 of them with an expression that said, insult you. When did I do that? You asked me to give up House 3 and move to House 10. Isn't that something only a fool can say? I'm only stating a fact. Bai Yuz took a deep breath and looked at Lu Yan. I forgot to mention just now. As long as you're willing to change houses, I can give you 1,000,000 energy coins as compensation. Lu Yan looked at Bai Yuz and said, the spirit gathering formation around House 3 is a high-grade spirit gathering formation. If I'm not wrong, the spirit gathering formation in House 10 should be a low-grade one, right? Do you think 1,000,000 energy coins can make up for this difference? Bai Yuz took a deep breath and looked at Lu Yan. How much do you want? Lu Yan stretched out a finger. 10 million energy coins. Are you crazy? House 10 doesn't have a low-grade spirit gathering formation but a mid-grade spirit gathering formation. Although it can't compare to a high-grade spirit gathering formation, the difference is not too obvious. How can it be worth 10 million? Bai Yuz looked at Lu Yan with an ugly expression. Lu Yan shook his head. It's not 10 million, but 100 million energy coins. Bai Yez's face darkened. Are you freaking kidding me? Lu Yan clapped and smiled. Wow, you're so smart. You actually guessed it. What a loss. At the side, Bai Yez's cousin tugged at Bai Yez's arm. Cousin, forget it. You also said that the difference between the two rooms is not obvious. House 10 is good enough for me. Bai Yuz ignored his cousin and looked at Lu Yan with a dark expression. Do you dare to fight me one-on-one? We'll talk with our strength. In any case, the rankings will be rearranged at that time. If you lose, you will switch dormitories with him. Lu Yan narrowed his eyes and looked at Bai Yuz. Is this allowed by the school? Bai Yuz said, the school only forbids coercion, but as long as you agree to the competition and sign a consent agreement, everything will be in line with the school's rules. Moreover, the school will even approve of such behavior. After all, the competition of the Golden Corner Academy is the strongest among all the universities. As long as you don't use dirty tricks, it's fine. Of course, you can also refuse. I won't violate the school rules and force you to exchange houses with him, but are you sure you want to admit defeat like this? Lu Yan raised his eyebrows. The other party had indeed not used any violent methods to force him. There were no vulgarities in his words either. He only wanted to use money in the beginning. Other than his arrogant attitude, there did not seem to be any problems. Moreover, Lu Yan also had the right to refuse. If the other party forced Lu Yan, it would be a violation of the school rules and the school would directly punish him. The Golden Corner Academy was very lenient within the rules, but as long as one violated the rules, they would be severely punished. Lu Yan thought for a moment and looked at Bai Yuz. You just said that you're in room 2, right? Bai Yuz said, of course. Why, do you want my room too? I'm not afraid to tell you that the spirit gathering formation around House 2 is the top-notch spirit gathering formation among high-grade spirit gathering formations, second only to the top-grade spirit gathering formation in room 1. As long as you can defeat me alone, I'll trade with you. Lu Yan no longer hesitated when he heard this. However, he looked at the cousin beside Bai Yuz and pointed at him. I'll switch rooms with him. Then, we'll fight one-on-one. If I win, I'll stay in room 2. You'll stay in House 10. Didn't you say that you want to help your cousin? This way, no matter what happens in the one-on-one competition, he can stay in House 3. Whoever wins will stay in House 2 and whoever loses will stay in House 10. Since he wanted to play, he would play with bigger stakes. Lu Yan did not think that any new student with 4 attributes had surpassed him. He still had 40 skill points that he had not added. It was impossible for him to lose in a one-on-one battle. There was still more than a month before the new students arrived. It was not bad to stay in House 2 first. When Bai Yez's cousin heard this, he whispered, Cousin, why don't we forget about it? I really think House 10 is still alright. Bai Yuz waved his hand and looked at Lu Yan. Alright, we'll go to the school's notary office now and sign the agreement. We'll fight one-on-one in 3 days. The Golden Corner Academy would not admit to making bets in private unless they went to the school's notary office first and completed the competition after being appraised by the school's professional referee. Lu Yan nodded and headed to the school's notary office with Bai Yuz. Along the way, Bai Yez's cousin was still trying to persuade him. From time to time, sentences like, Cousin, forget it, it's fine, it's impossible for me to lose, if you continue, you'll be looking down on me, could be heard. Lu Yan shook his head. He could tell that this Bai Yuz was not an arrogant and despotic guy. He was just too eager to show off. His cousin had not even asked for anything, but he insisted on helping the other party change his dormitory. Moreover, he seemed somewhat stupid. After arriving at the school's notary office, the matter between the two of them was quickly resolved. This kind of thing often happened in the Golden Corner Academy, and the entire process was very fast. 3 days later, Lu Yan and Bai Yuz would fight in the school arena. Then, they would change their dormitories according to the outcome. After confirming that there were no other objections, the notary agreement directly took effect. After it took effect, one could not regret it. The party who wanted to regret it would directly lose. Lu Yan, I'm not bragging, but the school's ranking is still reasonable. I'm number 2. In the eyes of the school's leaders, I'm stronger than you. When the time comes, you better obediently give up the house. However, I won't bully you. When the time comes, I'll still give you 1,000,000 yuan. With that said, Bai Yuz left with his cousin, who was still nagging, as if he had already won. Lu Yan smiled and shook his head before returning to the dormitory. After making a call to Luo Luli and telling about some things that happened after he had come to the school, Lu Yan sat in front of the computer in the room and entered his student number password before entering the school forum of the Golden Corner Academy. The school forum of the Golden Corner Academy was divided into several sections. There was a section for special students to trade and also a section for various wilderness information guides. Some of the better information guide posts still required credits to be unlocked. There was also a section that specialized in chatting. There were all kinds of information inside. There were dozens of posts every time. If one wanted to understand the latest news and various gossip, this was the best place. Lu Yan briefly browsed the chat section and checked a few of the latest popular news, but it had nothing to do with the new students. However, Lu Yan saw posts about him. Someone had specially listed the information of the top 10 new students. They were all basic introductions. Lu Yan was quite curious about who was ranked first, so he opened it. The first thing he saw was the number 10. There was an introduction above and a photo below. It was Bai Yez's cousin, Bai Tianyu. Looking down, Lu Yan quickly saw himself, then Bai Yuz. The other party's profession was a warrior. For him to be ranked second, his strength was definitely not bad. Further down was the number 1 new student of the Golden Corner Academy. The name was Bai Miao. Global job change. Starting with the hidden job, Lord of the Death, Chapter 45 Li Mayor's post. Bai Miao, could this person be related to Bai Yuz and Bai Tianyu? If that was true, then this Bai family of the North River was not simple. However, this had nothing to do with him. Lu Yan quickly continued to browse. After reading for a long time, Lu Yan directly searched for the keywords, sword pill, and wanted to check the news about the sword pill. The thread was instantly refreshed. Lu Yan clicked on the latest timeline and began to browse them one by one. A resource like the sword pill was still very popular among swordsmen. There were also many posts. Most of them were discussing the fact that a large number of sword pills had been bought recently and guessing which big shot in the sword Dao had done it. Not only had the sword pills on the market been bought, but even the sword pills in the treasure vaults of the various universities had also been taken. Soon, a post attracted Lu Yan's attention. It was a thread about a third-year student who wanted to take advantage of the high price of the sword pill to form a team and buy the distribution map of the deaths of swordsmen in the wilderness to get lucky. If he could find the sword pill left behind by the swordsman when he died, he could take the opportunity to make a killing. Lu Yan silently remembered the other party's contact information. At that time, they could try their luck together. 1. There was nothing useful about the other posts about the sword pill. After Lu Yan cancelled the sword pill search, he searched for the word, undead. Soon, a large number of posts about the undead appeared. Some simply introduced undead creatures, some discussed the use of the undead power, and there were also posts about selling or buying undead items. Lu Yan browsed briefly and discovered that most of the posts about the use of the undead power were relatively shallow and did not go deep. There were a few that looked good at the beginning and needed credits to be unlocked. As he continued to browse, Lu Yan suddenly saw a familiar name. Li Mayor. She had posted a thread about the undead on the school's trading forum this morning. Looking at the time, she should have posted this thread as soon as she became a student of the Golden Corner Academy. He opened it and saw that it was a post about a rescue deal. The main content was that one of her relatives had been cursed by the undead and needed someone who knew the undead power to help resolve it. This curse was level 60 and was used by a high-level undead creature. An ordinary priest's curse removal skill could only relieve the curse for a short period of time and could not eliminate it completely. If someone could eradicate this curse, Li Meier was willing to fork out 90 million energy coins. Wow, what a rich girl. Lu Yan shook his head. Although he was an undead monarch, he was only level 10 now. He was also helpless against this level 60 undead curse. After browsing the forum for a while, Lu Yan went to bed to rest. He still had to gather at the northwest field tomorrow. The next morning, after taking a shower and eating breakfast, Lu Yan slowly walked towards the northwest field. This small mountain was not far from the northwest field. If he set off at 9:30, he would be able to arrive in about half an hour. After arriving at the northwest field, Lu Yan already saw many new students. Many people had come. There seemed to be almost 100 people. It seemed that there were many specially recruited students from the Golden Corner Academy. These students should be the top students of the Golden Corner Academy. Of course, there were also many dark horses among the ordinary new students. Everyone stood on the field. A teacher was maintaining order, but he did not ask the students to quiet down. The students who had already arrived naturally had to take a few glances at the students who had just entered and discussed. Other than the top 10 new students, the rest of the students' attention was basically focused on the opposite gender. Everyone was in their adolescence and had just entered a university. Their hormones naturally peaked. Damn, this girl is beautiful. She has long legs. Tisk tisk tisk. Wow, this boy is so handsome and cute. He's my type. I'm going to get his contact information later. What's so good about cute guys? I like wild boys. They take the initiative. I like to be led by a man. Lu Yan's entrance also caused a commotion. After all, he was currently ranked 3rd among the new students. Lu Yan casually found a spot and stood there, waiting for the school leader to arrive. At this moment, a cry sounded in the surroundings. Look, it's Bai Miao. She seems to be somewhat different from the photo. Damn, I remember from the photo on the forum, she's a very handsome and mature woman. Now that she's wearing casual clothes, she seems exceptionally sweet. She's so sweet. I love it. Lu Yan's gaze also shifted over. He was also stunned when he saw Bai Miao appear in front of him. Bai Miao had a very exquisite appearance and an extremely good figure. She was also about 1.73 meters tall and gave off the aura of an older sister. However, at this moment, she was wearing an elegant casual outfit and a short skirt, looking like a soft girl. Lu Yan had seen her photos on the forum. She was wearing armor and holding a heavy sword. She looked very valiant. It was a stark contrast to his current image. At this moment, the school leader arrived. The person in the lead was a tall and elegant middle-aged man. He was very handsome and had sharp ears. It was obvious that he was a mixed-race elf. Behind him were a few instructors, including Li Moqing. Arriving in front of the students, the mixed-race elf smiled gently and said, "Everyone, you're all specially recruited students of our Golden Corner Academy this year. There's a total of 100 of you. Every one of you is a genius. I'm happy for you to join the Golden Corner Academy. Let me introduce myself. I'm the Dean of the Warrior Academy, Lu Quan. I came today mainly to learn more about you." Before entering the school, some students might choose to hide their information for various reasons. For example, some people who have awakened hidden professions might use special methods to hide their information. For example, those who have foreign race bloodlines might not report their identity for some reason. This is all understandable. After all, everyone's situation is different. Some of you guys might have your difficulties. But now, I hope that everyone can reveal their true selves. The top 100 students of the various school levels of the Golden Corner Academy will receive exclusive resource subsidies every month. These resource subsidies are customized according to your situation. Moreover, with your accurate information, we can also arrange the most suitable instructors for you. Therefore, I hope that everyone can be more honest. You can also rest assured that no matter why you chose to hide this, you can reveal it without any hesitation in the Golden Corner Academy. Be it because it's dangerous or because you're afraid of exposing your potential and being plotted against, the Golden Corner Academy has the confidence to help you resist everything. Of course, you can also choose not to expose the information you're hiding. The resource subsidies will be carried out according to the information you've given us. Next, those whose names I call, go forward and introduce yourself and simply reveal your strength. As soon as Lu Quan finished speaking, a commotion instantly sounded in the surroundings. Some people had hidden their abilities and were now considering whether to say it. Lu Yan's expression also changed slightly. Previously, he had always appeared as a necromancer because he started out with nothing at that time and was still living at the bottom level of Linan City. However, it was different now. He was completely confident in revealing his hidden profession and no longer had any worries. Moreover, according to Lu Quan, revealing his information was beneficial when it came to resources and arrangements for instructors. Thinking of this, Lu Yan decided to expose his identity as an undead monarch here. Lu Quan's voice also sounded quickly. First, by Miao, new student number 1.